Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel Piano Practice Partner. I hope you're all doing well. This is lesson number 12. We are 3 months into our learning journey together. It's been a really exciting 12 weeks for me, hopefully for you too. We've come so far from when we first looked at this instrument to this point now. Last week we were looking at dynamics. So a quick refresher on what that was. Dynamics were essentially our volume control, our personal volume control, and we learned about the range of dynamics available to us, going from piano, which was quiet, to forte, which was very loud, and then the sliding scale between. So you had between piano and forte, you had mezzo piano, which was moderately quiet, mezzo forte, which was moderately loud. And then either side of piano and forte, you had pianissimo, which was very quiet, and fortissimo, which was very loud. So you had pianissimo, piano, mezzo forte, forte, fortissimo. So we applied that to our playing. We did some improvisation where we were increasing the dynamics of a little improvisation. Whatever it was we were improvising, we were playing with the dynamic range available to us to put in some emotions, and I think it really changes the way we both play music, but also how we listen to music. So that was a really, really exciting discovery. Today in lesson 12, we're going to look at some technical exercises. As last week, dynamics are a technical exercise, but they brought more emotion to our playing. We're going to drill into a bit of hand independence. So far we've been playing either chords on their own, and when we've been improvising, breaking down a little improvised melody within the chord, keeping our hand very static. So I want to look today at something called arpeggios. Now, arpeggios are a series of notes that run up and down a scale. So a C major arpeggio would be this, which is, if you look at my fingers and listen to what I'm playing, is just the C major chord with the octave. So the first, the third, the fifth, and then the octave, the eighth. And you hear this, a lot of singers do this sort of warm-up, don't they? I am not going to sing at you right now, but it's a really good independence exercise. So let's look at that now. So for C major, we know our first, our third, and our fifth. So let's just go through all the chords we've learnt so far and figure out the arpeggios. Nice and simple for our C. And what's really important here is to make sure that we are doing both hands. So there's our C major arpeggio. What else have we learnt chord-wise? We've also learnt F major. Let's do all the majors first. So that's our F major chord, and then the octave. We just need to find the octave. So F and F. So here's our F major arpeggio. And then left hand. Great. What's up from F? We've got G. We've learnt our G major. So exactly as we've done before, we'll find our first, our third, and our fifth, and then the octave. So you'll notice that it takes a little bit of movement of my hand here. I could hold it in place and play it maybe a bit higher up here. If I'm a bit further down, it's a bit of hand movement. Depends on your reach. For some of us, an octave might be quite difficult for our hand reach here. So if it is, you're definitely going to have a little shift in order to facilitate getting your thumb or your pinky up and down that octave. Whereas some people have a really amazing reach and can span that octave quite easily. That's above the octave, that's the ninth there. But that's a real stretch for me. And for some people, depending on your hand, you might be here, you know. So figure out what's comfortable. So there's our G major arpeggio. What else have we got? We've got A minor. But do you remember how we made a minor into a major? It's to do with a third. So a minor has a flattened third. So this third note is flat, so we'd have to take it half a step up. So there's the A major. So let's try an A major arpeggio. And with our left hand. Similarly, we've also learnt this chord here, which is the D minor. So again, how do we change the minor chord into the major chord? We would take this flattened third and we'd raise up half a step. So this is our D major. So our D major arpeggio would sound like this. So far we've learnt our C major arpeggio, our D major, we've done F major, G major, A major. So we're only missing 2 chords, aren't we? We're missing the E and the B. So let's learn this now. Now listen to this chord. I'm not sure if we have covered this one yet, but listen to how it sounds. And can you identify with this is a major or a minor sound? Well done if you said minor, because this is indeed the E minor. So we'd raise that third up half a step to make E major. There we go, only one more left. When I say one more left, I mean of the white notes. We haven't gone on to any of the sharps yet. We haven't done C sharp major yet. So that's for another lesson. I mean one more for our white keys here. So let's talk about the B major chord, because there's something interesting to note here. The same way in our early lessons where we learnt the C major and G major and F major, actually the hand positions are the same spacings, we're just picking up and placing it down. But we learned what made up a major chord, the first, the third, and the fifth, because it's important to understand that the hand position alone doesn't make up the chord. And we prove that to ourselves by when we go to the A chord and the D chord. These weren't major chords, even though the hand positions were the same. F major, G major, A minor, C major, D minor. And it was this third we identified that we'd have to raise the third up half a step to make that D major and A major. So let's look at the B chord with that in mind. Major, major, minor. It stands to reason that I'm leading us to say that this is also a minor chord, B minor. But can you hear a difference between this minor chord and this chord here? I'll play them again. This isn't a minor chord at all. In fact, this is known as a diminished chord. Don't worry, don't panic. We'll look into what makes up a diminished chord in a later lesson, because it's really interesting and has a really good application. But this isn't a minor chord. That's the minor chord there. So for the major chord, if this was the third, we'd have to raise ourselves up to here. So this is actually B major. This B, this D sharp, and this F sharp. Very long, convoluted way around playing the arpeggio. But this is B major, B minor, and then something to whet your appetite for a future lesson, B diminished. You can really hear the difference, right? When you play the major to minor, then to this new chord that we haven't really heard before. Major, minor, diminished. Ooh, I'm super excited to get to grips with what diminished chords are later on. But let's go back on track. I'm getting distracted. We're gonna now play all of the white major arpeggios, all the white key major arpeggios. So we're gonna start with C. And now D. Now E. F, G, A, now B, back to C, there we go. I think this is a really good exercise for two reasons. A, it's really solidifying in our brains the major scale and the major chord for each one of those notes. We're getting to grips with, we know what C major is by now, come on, easy. But when we get to A major, I haven't done a lot of A major, so it's going, oh, there is this black note in there. And now for B as well, we know that there's two black notes in the B major. So it's helping us to really reinforce the scales and what notes fall within those scales. And it's also helping us with our independence, especially for our non-dominant hand. We haven't come to that one yet. But let's do the same now for our left hand. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, back to C. So already within my right hand and my left hand, not as smooth, not as consistent on the left, and there's definitely weighting issues. And what I mean by that is maybe I'd play really loud, really forte with my pinky there, leaning into it, and then it'll get softer when it went up. Fine if that's a choice. But if it's not a choice, we have to be aware of that. So how do we get that nice and smooth and consistent tone and sound? So something to be aware of in your practice. Right, that's pretty much it for the lesson today. We've just been learning the arpeggios for all these white notes. There is more we can do with this. It's really, really great as a starting point to get us used to playing arpeggios and to get our hands nice and comfortable with that. Because in a later lesson, in the same way that we've learned the C major scale, we've only learned it over one octave. Same with this arpeggio. But in a future lesson, once we get more used to this, we'll learn how to do that over 2 octaves. So that took me a lot of concentration, which is why we're sticking for 1 octave for now, because I don't feel confident enough yet to do that in all the keys and not with my left hand. So we're going to start with this 1 octave arpeggio, get really used to that for both hands, up and down. And then in a future lesson, we'll get to that 2 octaves and we'll feel like absolute concerto pros. Thanks so much, everyone. Remember to comment down below, let me know your wins of the week, how you're getting on, what discoveries you've made. Leave me a little note saying anything you'd like to look at in the future, point out any mistakes I've made. And if you hadn't already subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. It'd really help us out. We're building a nice little community of budding musicians here. So welcome, thank you for the support, and I look forward to seeing you next time on Piano Practice Partner.